Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Baseball. Base consisting of a rubber slab where the batter stands. It must be touched by a base runner in order to score. A metal sheathing of uniform thickness, such as the shield attached to an artillery piece to protect the gunners. A flat sheet of metal or glass on which a photographic image can be recorded. A shallow receptacle for collection in church. The quantity contained in a plate. A dental appliance that artificially replaces missing teeth. A rigid layer of the Earth's crust that is believed to drift slowly. A full-page illustration, usually on slick paper. A main course served on a plate. A vegetable plate. Any flat plate-like body structure or part. A sheet of metal or wood or glass or plastic. Coat with a layer of metal. Plate spoons with silver. Dish on which food is served or from which food is eaten. Structural member consisting of a horizontal beam that provides bearing and anchorage. The positively charged electrode in a vacuum tube. The thin under portion of the forequarter. Baseball. Base consisting of a rubber slab where the batter stands. It must be touched by a base runner in order to score. He ruled that the runner failed to touch home. An institution where people are cared for. A home for the elderly. A social unit living together. The teacher asked how many people made up his home. Inside the country. Where you live at a particular time. Deliver the package to my home. The place where you are stationed and from which missions start and end. Housing that someone is living in. They raise money to provide homes for the homeless. An environment offering affection and security. Home is where the heart is. Place where something began and flourished. The United States is the home of basketball. Provide with, or send to, a home. Return home accurately from a long distance. The country or state or city where you live. Canadian tariffs enabled United States lumber companies to raise prices at home. Used of your own ground. A home game. Relating to or being where one lives or where one's roots are. My hometown. Baseball. Base consisting of a rubber slab where the batter stands. It must be touched by a base runner in order to score. Usually plural, the office that serves as the administrative center of an enterprise. Baseball. Base consisting of a rubber slab where the batter stands. It must be touched by a base runner in order to score. A thin flake of dead epidermis shed from the surface of the skin. Remove the scales from. Scale fish. Music. A series of notes differing in pitch according to a specific scheme, usually within an octave. A measuring instrument for weighing. Shows amount of mass. Reach the highest point of. We scaled the Mont Blanc. A metal sheathing of uniform thickness, such as the shield attached to an artillery piece to protect the gunners. An ordered reference standard. Judging on a scale of 1 to 10. A specialized leaf or bract that protects a bud or catkin. A flattened rigid plate forming part of the body covering of many animals. An indicator having a graduated sequence of marks. Climb up by means of a ladder. Measure by or as if by a scale. This bike scales only 25 pounds. Measure with or as if with scales. Scale the gold. Pattern, make, regulate, set, measure, or estimate according to some rate or standard. Relative magnitude. They entertained on a grand scale. Size or measure according to a scale. This model must be scaled down. Take by attacking with scaling ladders. The troops scaled the walls of the fort. The ratio between the size of something and a representation of it. The scale of the map. Remove the husks from. Hard outer covering or case of certain organisms such as arthropods and turtles. Come out better in a competition, race, or conflict. The exterior covering of a bird's egg. The housing or outer covering of something. A metal sheathing of uniform thickness, such as the shield attached to an artillery piece to protect the gunners. Use explosives on. The enemy has been shelling us all day. Create by using explosives. A very light, narrow racing boat. Ammunition consisting of a cylindrical metal casing containing an explosive charge and a projectile, fired from a large gun. A rigid covering that envelops an object. The satellite is covered with a smooth shell of ice. Fall out of the pod or husk. The corn shell. Hit the pitches of hard and regularly. He shelled the pitcher for 8 runs in the first inning. Look for and collect shells by the seashore. Remove from its shell or outer covering. Shell the legumes. The hard, largely calcareous covering of a mollusk or a brachiopod. The hard, usually fibrous outer layer of some fruits, especially nuts. The material that forms the hard outer covering of many animals. A flat sheet of metal or glass on which a photographic image can be recorded. A shallow receptacle for collection in church. The quantity contained in a plate. A dental appliance that artificially replaces missing teeth. A dental appliance that artificially replaces missing teeth. A rigid layer of the Earth's crust that is believed to drift slowly. A terrorist network intensely opposed to the United States that dispenses money and logistical support and training to a wide variety of radical Islamic terrorist groups, has cells in more than 50 countries. Of low birth or station, base, is archaic in this sense. Base-born wretches with dirty faces. Use purified cocaine, by burning it and inhaling the fumes. Lowest support of a structure. It was built on a base of solid rock. A support or foundation. The base of the lamp. The most important or necessary part of something. A place that the runner must touch before scoring. Illegitimate. Numeration system. The positive integer that is equivalent to 1 in the next higher counting place. A phosphoric ester of a nucleoside. The basic structural unit of nucleic acids, DNA or RNA. A lower limit. Serving as or forming a base. The painter applied a base coat followed by 2 finishing coats. The fundamental assumptions from which something is begun or developed or calculated or explained. Linguistics, the form of a word after all affixes are removed. The place where you are stationed and from which missions start and end. The stock of basic facilities and capital equipment needed for the functioning of a country or area. The industrial base of Japan. Having or showing an ignoble lack of honor or morality. That liberal obedience without which your army would be a base rabble. Any of various water-soluble compounds capable of turning litmus blue and reacting with an acid to form a salt and water. Bases include oxides and hydroxides of metals and ammonia. Not adhering to ethical or moral principles. Base and unpatriotic motives. Installation from which a military force initiates operations. The attack wiped out our forward bases. Use as a basis for, found on. Base a claim on some observation. A flat bottom on which something is intended to sit. A tub should sit on its own base. Anatomy, the part of an organ nearest its point of attachment. The base of the skull. Debased, not genuine. An attempt to eliminate the base coinage. Electronics, the part of a transistor that separates the emitter from the collector. Situate as a center of operations. We will base this project in the new lab. The bottom or lowest part. The base of the mountain. The bottom side of a geometric figure from which the altitude can be constructed. The base of the triangle. The principal ingredient of a mixture. Glycerinated gelatin is used as a base for many ointments. Used of metals, consisting of or alloyed with inferior metal. Base coins of aluminum. An activity that you like or at which you are superior. His bag now is learning to play golf. A portable rectangular container for carrying clothes. He carried his small bag onto the plane with him. Take unlawfully. A place that the runner must touch before scoring. He scrambled to get back to the bag. A container used for carrying money and small personal items or accessories, especially by women. She reached into her bag and found a comb. Bulge out. Form a bulge outward, or be so full as to appear to bulge. The quantity that a bag will hold. He ate a large bag of popcorn. Mammary gland of bovids, cows and sheep and goats. An ugly or ill-tempered woman. He was romancing the old bag for her money. A flexible container with a single opening. He stuffed his laundry into a large bag. Capture or kill, as in hunting. Bag a few pheasants. Hang loosely, like an empty bag. Put into a bag. The supermarket clerk bagged the groceries. The quantity of game taken in a particular period, usually by one person. His bag included 2 deer. Armor carried on the arm to intercept blows. Hard outer covering or case of certain organisms such as arthropods and turtles. Protect, hide, or conceal from danger or harm. Hold back a thought or feeling about. A protective covering or structure. Paper used for writing or printing. A large piece of fabric, usually canvas fabric, by means of which wind is used to propel a sailing vessel. Bed linen consisting of a large rectangular piece of cotton or linen cloth, used in pairs. Nautical. A line, rope or chain, that regulates the angle at which a sail is set in relation to the wind. A flat artifact that is thin relative to its length and width. Mathematics. An unbounded two-dimensional shape. Newspaper with half-size pages. Any broad thin expanse or surface. A sheet of ice. Come down as if in sheets. The rain was sheeting down during the monsoon. Cover with a sheet, as if by wrapping. Sheet the body. A flat artifact that is thin relative to its length and width. A container that is used to put or keep things in. An electrical, or electronic, fitting that is connected to a source of power and equipped to receive and insert. Enlarged tip of a stem that bears the floral parts. The quantity that a container will hold. A device to repair teeth or replace missing teeth. The trait of being rude and impertinent, inclined to take liberties. The outer layer of the earth. A hard outer layer that covers something. Form a crust or form into a crust. The bread crusted in the oven. The outer layer of the earth. Showing by example. An item of information that is typical of a class or group. Artwork that helps make something clear or attractive. A visual representation, a picture or diagram, that is used to make some subject more pleasing or easier to understand. The principal dish of a meal. A square mainsail. Something that provides access, to get in or get out. The right to enter. The principal dish of a meal. An entrance, especially a theatrical entrance onto a stage or as if onto a stage. She made a graceful entree into the ballroom. A particular complex anatomical part of a living thing and its construction and arrangement. A particular complex anatomical part of a living thing and its construction and arrangement. A particular complex anatomical part of a living thing and its construction and arrangement. A particular complex anatomical part of a living thing and its construction and arrangement. The people in a society considered as a system organized by a characteristic pattern of relationships. Sociologists have studied the changing structure of the family. A particular complex anatomical part of a living thing and its construction and arrangement. He has good bone structure. A thing constructed, a complex entity constructed of many parts. The structure consisted of a series of arches. Give a structure to. I need to structure my days. The complex composition of knowledge as elements and their combinations. His lectures have no structure. The manner of construction of something and the arrangement of its parts. Artists must study the structure of the human body. Put a coat on. Cover the surface of. Furnish with a surface. Appear or become visible. Make a showing. I hope the list key is going to surface again. Information that has become public. The facts had been brought to the surface. Come to the surface. The outermost level of the land or sea. Earthquakes originate far below the surface. A device that provides reactive force when in motion relative to the surrounding air, can lift or control a plane in flight. A superficial aspect as opposed to the real nature of something. It was not what it appeared to be on the surface. On the surface. Surface materials of the Moon. The extended two-dimensional outer boundary of a three-dimensional object. They skimmed over the surface of the water. The outer boundary of an artifact or a material layer constituting or resembling such a boundary. There is a special cleaner for these surfaces.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.